Yes, you can see this image, right? Okay. So can you tell me the topic? Which topic are we going to start? Can you see this image? Is the screen visible?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Now, can you guess the topic?
Um, it's about water.
Water. Okay. So in this picture, okay, at the same area, right? You can see there is no water, and here the water is
Hmm.
at certain height, right? So
Yes.
why this has happened? See, any any idea?
No.
No. Okay, so we are going to start a topic, uh, tides, right? Okay,
Hmm.
we will start the topic tides, and I should say that I need to show you the video first, then we can start a topic. Okay, I think you should get a um previous knowledge of tides or the level of the water, high rise and rising and falling of the water. Okay. So what is the reason behind this? Okay. So we are going to start it. Just give me a minute.
Sir?
G.
Yeah.
If there is one space object that is closest to humans and integrated into our lives, it is the moon. If you look up at the sky at night, you will see a bright moon. The moon is not simply a celestial beauty, but its impact on our Earth and the change it causes on our Earth is amazing. The ocean waves and the moon are inseparable. It is a good fortune for mankind to be watching the full moon and sea waves together from the beach at the end of the evening. At the same time, it would be much more amazing and enjoyable if you knew the science behind it. What is the reason for the effect of sea waves on the full moon and new moon days? Why is the sea inundated twice in the same day in many places? What is the relationship between ocean waves and the moon? Besides that, another one space object plays the role of ocean tides. What is that? Let's see. Many of us don't know the difference between waves and tides. If the wind blows fast on the land, it hits the soil particles on its surface and creates dust layers at that place. Similarly, when the wind hits the surface of the sea, it vibrates the seawater up and down, causing it to rotate and form waves. These waves move from the center of the ocean towards the coast according to wind speed. Usually this wave is 1.5 meters to 3 meters high. Tides mean the rising and falling of the water level of the sea. When the sea level rises, it is called high tide. When it falls, it's called low tide. If you've ever been to the ocean, you wouldn't know the difference, but those who live by the ocean side know it well. High tide and low tide occurs twice a day. Well, why does the sea level rise and fall? The moon is a significant cause of these formations. The moon orbits around the Earth due to our Earth's gravity. There is a tidal force between the Earth and the Moon, and it is due to this force that it becomes tidally locked and rotates continuously. This tidal force is responsible for the formation of tides on Earth. In other words, just as the Earth attracts the Moon attracts the Earth. Earth's gravitational pull is greater, causing the Moon to orbit around. The Moon's gravity is much smaller than that of the Earth's, but it has little effect on the Earth. That's bulging, which makes the Earth swell a little. Earth's surface is 70% made of water, and that water is drawn to the moon. Whichever side the moon orbits around the Earth experiences the bulging effect of the moon. High tide occurs when the bulges are high, and low tide occurs where it is low. So in 24 hours, when the Earth completes one complete rotation, high tide occurs twice, and low tide occurs twice. Of course, in reality, the Earth isn't a smooth ball, so tides are also affected by the presence of continents. the shape of the Earth, the depth of the ocean in different locations, and more. The timing and heights of the tide near you will be affected by those additional elements. We think high tide occurs only on the full moon, but the truth is that both the tides and waves are high during the full moon or the new moon. The reason for this is not only the moon, but also the sun. The main cause of these bulges on Earth is usually the moon, but the sun also plays a role. The sun is the reason there are more waves and tides, especially during the full moon and new moon days, than on other days. Just as the impact of the moon causes a bulge on the Earth, similarly the sun, which is several thousand times more massive, also causes a bulge on the Earth. On normal days, the influence of the moon is more. But what is special about full and new moon days is that the Earth, sun, and moon are all aligned in a straight line. At that time, the bulging caused by the moon and the bulging caused by the sun is combined, resulting in greater bulges than on other days. If the Earth is between the sun and the moon, it is a full moon. If the moon is between the sun and the Earth, it is a new moon. Because these two are in the same straight line during the event, there are more waves and tides. This phenomenon is called spring tides. Another phenomenon is neap tide. This means there will be few waves and tides. When the moon is perpendicular to the sun and the Earth, the bulges caused by the sun and those caused by the moon balance each other, so the tides are lower than on other days. Many people think there is no moon during the new moon, so the moon's gravity is less on that day, and during full moon, the moon is brighter, so the gravity is higher, and the tides in the ocean are higher. Even during the new moon, the moon is there, but our eyes do not see it because the sun's light didn't fall on the other side of the moon. The moon always orbits around the Earth, whether it is visible to our eyes or not. Its gravitational pull is always the same. But on full and new moon days, the tides and waves are higher than on other days due to the sun's gravitational pull. This is how the seawater level falls in many places of the world, exposing more areas of beaches. The seawater then rises and covers larger areas which disappear into the sea. Now, we may be concerned that since the Earth's surface is made up of 70% water and the moon impacts the Earth, will it impact our body, which is also made up of more than 70% water? We are much closer to the Earth than the moon. The moon's gravity is much less than the Earth's, so there's no chance of the moon affecting our bodies. The moon's gravity cancels out the Earth's gravity, thus no change occurs in Earth. The moon not only increases the tides, but also slows down the Earth's spinning. At the time of the Earth's formation, its rotation speed was high. The speed is now decreasing mainly because of the moon's gravitational force. Humans took advantage of this natural phenomenon caused by the moon to generate electricity through turbines. Also, ships at the port use this low and high tide phenomenon to save fuel for coming and going ashore. The moon is amazing, but it would be much more beautiful if we knew the science behind it.
Need to get your business online? GoDaddy makes it fast and easy with user-friendly products and tools. Plus, access
Yes. Gee, so what have you got from the video? Any one point would you like to share?
That the moon and sun causes bulging.
All right. Take care. So there's a tidal bulge, right? Just like this. Okay. Right? So the moon and earth and sun, all three, celestial bodies are aligned on a line. Then there's a, large bulge is formed, okay, in this way, okay, and we call the high tide at this point and this point, and the low tides are there at this point and at this point, right? So the question arises, what is tide, or what are tides?
Uh, tides. Tide is the
Now you can relate
falling
the,
and
okay, you can relate with this picture. Yes, there is no water, or there is less water, or there is low level of water, and there's a high level of water. You can, relate this picture, and then you can, tell me the definition of tides.
tides is the falling and the increasing
Hmm.
of water.
Right, okay. So tides are the periodic rising and falling. Okay, the periodic rising and falling of the sea level, of the sea level caused by, yes, by what? Caused by what? Caused by the gravitational, caused by the gravitational interaction, between what? Between the earth, moon, and sun. Okay, right? Acha, so what are the two types of tides?
High tide and low tide.
G. So two types of uh tides. First is high tide. Uh mainly there are two types, okay? High tides and low tides. सही है? ठीक है? अच्छा जी. There is one question. Which celestial body, which
Yes.
celestial body, which celestial body has a greater effect on Earth's tides, the moon or the sun? It's so
Sun.
simple. Are you sure? जी बेटा.
Sun.
नीचे नीचे लेकर आ जाओ. जी, which celestial body has a greater effect on Earth's tides, the moon or the sun? बेटा, it's the moon, right? It's the moon. The moon has जी जी नीचे लेना है बेटा, नीचे लेना है. The moon has a greatest, okay, has a greatest effect on Earth's tides due to its why? Due to its closer domain or proximity. Okay. Okay. Right.
Yes.
अच्छा, in that video we have just had it. तो उसके अंदर आप मुझे बताएं कि what was shared about the number of high tides and the low tides in a day.
uh, that high tide occurs
High
2 times
tides,
and low
yes,
tide occurs 3 times.
ठीक है. High tides occur twice a day. Similarly, low tides occur twice a day. ठीक है, right? Acha, what should be the difference of the time, or what is the time difference in one high tide, one high tide to another high tide?
6 hours.
Think about it. Take say 30
6
seconds.
hours.
6 hours. Are you sure? One high tide to another high tide.
No, 12 hours.
12 hours. Okay. And one high tide to next low tide.
6 hours.
6 hours. Okay. Right? It should be the 12 hours. Okay. Time. Time between one high tide to another high tide in a day is 12 hours. ठीक है, वैसे ये 12 hours 25 minutes भी होते हैं, ठीक है, but we are going to refer this time. Okay, all right. And time between one low tide to another low tide क्या होगा?
12 hours.
One low tide to another low tide in a day,
12 hours.
12 hours. ठीक है. And similarly, one high tide to next low tide. One high tide to next low tide. It will be 6 hours. Clear? ठीक है. Now, can you understand these two pictures? Can you understand these two pictures? Any confusion in this? The earth is being pulled. The earth is being pulled by the moon and the sun, but the moon is closest to the earth. That's why it will have a greatest effect on earth's tides, right? Than the sun. But the tides are formed due to the gravitational attraction of sun and the moon. Okay? Is this clear? But mainly
Yes.
it is affected by it has a greatest effect on earth due to the moon's attraction. Is this clear? Okay.
Yes.
This is how the level of the water rises and it falls. Clear? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Over here you can see in this picture, you can see when the moon is here, still you have the high tide here. Okay. See, the bulge is formed here and the bulge is formed here. Okay, so the moon is attracting the water, okay, and forming a bulge.
Hmm.
Are you getting my point? Clear?
Yes.
Hmm. Acha, similarly, when the moon is between the sun and the earth, okay, it's going to be the new moon. हम इसको फिर new moon कहते हैं. We call it a new moon,
Hmm. Yes.
right? Again, we will have the high tide. Okay. So here the bulge is formed. So high tides are here at one side and to the another side. Okay. So here's the combined
Hmm.
gravitational pull of the sun and the moon. Is this clear? Okay. And
Yes.
at the same time, the low tides will be at these points. Okay, beta.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Acha, what is the tidal force? The tidal force की definition आ जाती है. So what are you going to write about the tidal force?
The
It should be the strength, right?
hmm.
The strength, the strength, or what should I say? The force, the strength or a force due to due to due to tides, due to tides, due to
Hmm.
tides that that is caused that is caused by gravitational pull of moon and sun to the earth. Okay, done. And the tidal forces depends on the force depends on the celestial I should say mass of the celestial body. Okay, right? So tidal force depends on the masses of celestial body. Okay, right? Acha, tidal range. What is tidal range? Tidal range. The difference of tidal range is the difference between between high tide between high tides and low tides. लैपटॉप लाए हो? नहीं है रखा हुआ है. All right, the difference between high tides and the low tides. First order, second order complete हो गई. फिर second order रहती है. हाँ. Second order difference चलेगा. चलो इंशाल्लाह हो जाएगा आज. All right. The difference between high tides and the low tides is called a tidal range. See, now
Hmm.
here the question comes. A coastal area experiences a high tide 5 meters above sea level. If the tidal range, if the tidal range is 3 meters, what is the height of the low tide?
2 meters
Yes,
above.
yes. So since we know that tidal range is given in the question, right? And high tide is also given, right? So how are we going to do? Low tides can be found by subtracting tidal range from high tide. Okay, हाई टाइड से आप टाइडल रेंज की वैल्यू माइनस कर दोगे. क्लियर? सो इट्स गोइंग टू बी 5 minus 3, 2 meters. ठीक है? एनी कंफ्यूजन हियर? नो?
No.
ठीक है. अच्छा, कुछ मैं आपको क्वेश्चन दे रहा हूँ और फिर आप हाई टाइड, फोर मीटर्स एंड टाइडल रेंज इज 2 मीटर. ठीक है, तो आपकी लो टाइड क्या होगी ये आप निकालोगे. ओके, आफ्टर दिस क्लास. क्वेश्चन नंबर 2, high tide. Okay, this time tidal range, you have to find out tidal range. Okay, and the low tide is 5 meters. So it should be low tide is 2 meter and the high tide is 5 meter, right? So you need to find out the tidal range. Achha ji. Clear? Any confusion here? No?
No.
Achha, can you tell me what time the fishermen, usually prefer to fish in harbors? During which specific hours? A high tide is preferred or a low tide is preferred? Or they prefer both. Some prefer high tide, some prefer low tide.
Nice.
Okay, some fishermen, okay, some fishermen prefer to fish during high tide. During high tide, right? As the water level is high. As the water level is high, okay, and more areas are accessible, okay? And more areas are accessible, okay? So it depends, this can be particularly effective for the particular species, in that particular area for the high tide. तो आपको जिस टाइप की आपको फिश जो है वो catch करनी होगी, right? So you prefer that high tide. ठीक है? If you think that we do not need that kind of species, so we prefer the low tide. So some fishermen prefer to fish during low tide. Okay, during low tide, as the water, but it is dangerous. Why? Because they won't be able to come. Okay, when there's a low tide, they won't be able to move properly. Okay, they can be stuck. Okay, as the water level is low. As the water level is lower, and certain areas may become more exposed. Okay, making easier to target. Easier to target specific species. Okay, right? I hope the topic is clear, and then inshallah, in the next class we will be starting changes in energy. Okay, what energy is, and how the energy is involved in different aspect of life. Okay, uh, what happens when the energy is changed? Clear, beta? All right, so inshallah meet you in the next class. Assalamu alaikum, Allah Hafiz.